In the heart of Lagos, Nigeria, a young woman's love would lead her down a path of deception and danger. Nneoma's eyes sparkled with determination as she gazed at the seminary school's imposing walls. She had one goal: to be with Obinna, the man she loved. Disguising herself as a revered sister, Nneoma took a deep breath and stepped into the unknown. The strict rules and expectations of the seminary would test her resolve, but she was willing to risk everything for love. With a calculated smile, Nneoma began her double life, unaware of the scandals that awaited her. Nneoma's days blended together in a blur of prayer, study, and subterfuge. By day, she wore the habit of a revered sister, her hair hidden beneath a crisp white veil. By night, she shed her disguise, revealing the vibrant young woman beneath. Obinna, the man she loved, was her sole reason for living this double life. Their stolen moments together were fleeting, but oh, the thrill that coursed through her veins whenever they touched. But Nneoma knew she couldn't keep up this charade forever. The risks of discovery grew with each passing day, and the weight of her secrets threatened to crush her. As Nneoma navigated the treacherous landscape of her double life, she began to realize that the greatest danger lay not in being discovered, but in losing herself in the process. Nneoma's relationships with the other seminarians were complicated. Some were warm and welcoming, while others seemed suspicious of her motives. Father Michael, a stern but fair mentor, watched her every move, his eyes narrowing whenever she stumbled over a prayer or hesitated in her duties. Nneoma knew she had to tread carefully, lest she arouse suspicion and jeopardize her place in the seminary. Meanwhile, Obinna's feelings for Nneoma deepened. He saw beyond her disguise, sensing the vibrant young woman beneath. Their clandestine meetings became more frequent, and Nneoma found herself torn between her love for Obinna and her duty to maintain her disguise. The tension between them was palpable, their desire for each other burning brighter with each passing day. But as their love grew stronger, the risks of discovery became more pronounced. Nneoma and Obinna knew they were playing with fire, but they couldn't resist the flame that drew them together. As Nneoma struggled to balance her double life, a new challenge emerged. A rival seminarian, Brother James, began to investigate her background, his curiosity piqued by her unusual behavior. Nneoma knew she had to be careful, but she couldn't shake the feeling that her world was about to come crashing down around her. The walls were closing in, and Nneoma's secrets were on the verge of being exposed. Would she find a way to keep her double life intact, or would her deception be her downfall? Brother James's investigation into Nneoma's background grew more intense. He interviewed the other seminarians, searching for any inconsistencies in her story. Nneoma sensed the scrutiny, her anxiety spiking with each passing day. She knew she had to be careful, but she couldn't shake the feeling that Brother James was closing in on her. The walls were closing in, and Nneoma's secrets were on the verge of being exposed. She knew she had to think fast, or risk losing everything she had worked for. One night, Nneoma and Obinna's clandestine meeting was almost discovered by Father Michael. They had to think fast to avoid suspicion, and Nneoma was forced to use all her wits to talk her way out of the situation. But the close call left her shaken, and she knew she couldn't keep up this charade forever. Nneoma's double life was becoming increasingly complicated. She knew she had to make a choice, but the consequences of her decision would be far-reaching. As the days went by, Brother James's investigation continued to gain momentum. He discovered a discrepancy in Nneoma's paperwork, and his suspicions were aroused. Nneoma knew she was running out of time, and she had to come up with a plan to protect herself and her relationship with Obinna. The scandal was unfolding, and Nneoma's world was about to come crashing down around her. Would she find a way to salvage her reputation, or would her deception be her downfall? The tension built to a boiling point as Brother James confronted Nneoma about his findings. Nneoma's heart racing, she tried to talk her way out of the situation, but Brother James was not convinced. The consequences of her deception were about to be revealed, and Nneoma's future hung in the balance. The truth was about to be exposed, and Nneoma's life would never be the same again. Would she find a way to redeem herself, or would her secrets destroy everything she held dear? The confrontation with Brother James left Nneoma reeling. She knew she had to come clean to Obinna about the situation, but she was afraid of his reaction. When she finally gathered the courage to tell him, Obinna's response was a mix of shock, anger, and disappointment. He felt betrayed by Nneoma's deception, and he didn't know if he could ever trust her again. The consequences of Nneoma's actions were unfolding, and her relationship with Obinna was about to be put to the test. Would their love be strong enough to overcome the secrets and lies, or would it be the very thing that tore them apart? As the news of Nneoma's deception spread, the seminary was thrown into chaos. Father Michael was devastated, feeling that he had been duped by Nneoma's charade. The other seminarians were shocked and confused, struggling to understand why Nneoma had felt the need to deceive them. Nneoma's future hung in the balance, and she knew she had to face the music. Would she find a way to make amends, or would her mistakes define her forever? Nneoma was called to meet with the seminary's governing body, where she faced the consequences of her actions. She was stripped of her habit and expelled from the seminary, her reputation in tatters. Obinna, torn between his love for Nneoma and his duty to the seminary, struggled to make sense of the situation. The aftermath of the scandal left Nneoma and Obinna grappling with the consequences of their love. Would they find a way to be together, or would the secrets and lies tear them apart forever? As Nneoma packed her bags and left the seminary, she knew she had to start over. She had lost her reputation, her place in the seminary, and possibly even Obinna's love. But she also knew that she couldn't change the past, and that all she could do was try to make amends and move forward. The question was, would Obinna follow her, or would their love be a casualty of Nneoma's deception? Nneoma's expulsion from the seminary marked a turning point in her life. She had to confront the consequences of her actions and decide what she truly wanted. Obinna, still grappling with his feelings, struggled to reconcile his love for Nneoma with the betrayal he felt. The ultimate choice lay before them: would they find a way to forgive and move forward, or would the weight of Nneoma's deception tear them apart forever? As Nneoma navigated her new reality, she realized that she had been given a second chance. She began to rebuild her life, focusing on her own growth and development. Obinna, meanwhile, was forced to confront his own feelings and priorities. He had to decide whether his love for Nneoma was strong enough to overcome the challenges they faced. The question was, would their love prevail, or would it succumb to the pressures of the world around them? In a dramatic confrontation, Obinna finally made his decision. He sought out Nneoma, his heart heavy with emotion, and revealed his choice. Nneoma, her heart racing, listened as Obinna declared his love for her, and his willingness to face the challenges ahead. The ultimate choice had been made. Would their love be the guiding force in their lives, or would it falter in the face of adversity? As they stood together, hand in hand, Nneoma and Obinna knew that their journey would not be easy. But they also knew that their love was strong enough to overcome any obstacle. They embarked on a new path, one filled with hope, forgiveness, and the promise of a brighter future. Their love story was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. The final scene shows Nneoma and Obinna walking hand in hand, looking out at the horizon, symbolizing their new beginning and the promise of a future together. This conclusion wraps up the story, providing a sense of closure and new beginnings for the characters. The ending is hopeful and optimistic, suggesting that their love can overcome the challenges they faced.